Sometimes, the most frightening things do not happen in dark places. They happen in bright sunlight, on a normal morning, among smiling neighbors. This is the story of a small village, where everything looks peaceful, everything feels ordinary. Children are playing, adults are talking. Life seems simple. But behind this normal day, a tradition waits. A tradition so old that no one questions it anymore. This is The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. It was the morning of June 27th. The day was bright and sunny. Flowers were blooming, and the grass was green. Around 10 o'clock, the villagers gathered in the square, between the post office and the bank. This village was small, so the lottery would finish quickly, and everyone could go home for lunch. The children came first. School had just ended, and they were restless but excited. They talked about teachers and school, then slowly started to play. Bobby Martin filled his pockets with stones. Other boys followed him. They made a pile of stones in one corner and guarded it carefully. The girls stood nearby, talking softly. Soon the men arrived, talking about crops, rain, and work. They smiled quietly. Then the women came, wearing simple dresses. They talked, shared gossip, and called their children to stand with them. The lottery was handled by Mr. Summers, a cheerful man who ran the coal business. He arrived carrying a black wooden box. The villagers watched silently. Mr. Graves brought a small stool, and the box was placed in the center of the square. Two men held the box steady, while Mr. Summers mixed the papers inside. The black box was very old. It had been used for generations. Every year people talked about replacing it, but no one ever did. The box was cracked, faded, and worn, but tradition kept it alive. Mr. Martin and his eldest son Baxter held the black box firmly on the stool. Mr. Summers mixed the papers inside with his hand. Long ago, people used wooden chips, but the village had grown bigger now, so Mr. Summers decided to use paper slips instead. They were easier to handle. The night before the lottery, Mr. Summers and Mr. Graves prepared the papers and locked the box in the coal company safe. During the rest of the year, the box was kept in different places, sometimes in a barn, sometimes in the post office, sometimes in a grocery store. Before starting the lottery, there was a lot to prepare. Lists were checked. Families were counted. Many old rituals were already forgotten. Only the basic rules remained. Mr. Summers looked serious and important, standing beside the black box, talking with the villagers. Just then, Mrs. Hutchinson came running. She laughed and said she was busy at home. People smiled and made space for her. She joined her husband and children at the front. Mr. Summers joked that they almost started without her. Everyone laughed softly. Then, Mr. Summers became serious and said, "All right, let's begin. The sooner we finish, the sooner we can go back to work. Is everyone here?" "Dunbar," several people said together. Mr. Summers checked his list. "Clyde Dunbar," he said. "He broke his leg, didn't he? Who will draw for him?" "I will," Mrs. Dunbar replied quietly. "My son is only 16. Mr. Summers nodded and wrote it down. "Watson boy," he called next. A tall boy raised his hand. "I'm drawing for my mother and myself." People whispered softly, trying to sound kind. Mr. Summers looked around. "Old man Warner here?" "Yes," a voice answered. The crowd suddenly went silent. Mr. Summers cleared his throat. "All right, I'll read the names. The head of each family will come forward. Take one paper. Don't open it until everyone has drawn." They already knew the rules. "Adams," Mr. Summers called. Mr. Adams stepped forward. They exchanged a quick, nervous greeting. Then Mr. Adams picked a paper and hurried back to his place, holding it tightly, not looking at it. More names were called. In the back, two women whispered. "It feels like the last lottery was just yesterday," one said. "Yes," the other replied softly. "Time goes very fast." "Clark Delacroix," Mrs. Delacroix whispered. "There goes my husband," and held her breath as he stepped forward. "Dunbar," Mr. Summers called. Mrs. Dunbar walked calmly to the box. Women around her whispered encouragement. "We're next," Mrs. Graves said, watching nervously as her husband picked a paper. Now, all around the square, men stood, holding folded slips, turning them again and again, afraid to look. Hutchinson. "Go on, Bill," Mrs. Hutchinson joked, and people laughed softly. Jones. Someone whispered to Old Man Warner. "They say the Northern Village wants to stop the lottery." Old Man Warner snorted. "Fools," he said. "There's always been a lottery. Without it, nothing will grow." "Some villages already stopped," a woman said. "Only trouble comes from that," Warner replied angrily. More names were called. Mrs. Dunbar whispered, "I wish they'd hurry." "They're almost done," her son said. Finally, Mr. Summers drew his own slip. Then he called, "Warner." Old Man Warner stepped forward, saying, "This is my 77th lottery. 77 years. Watson." The tall boy walked forward nervously. Someone said, "Don't be afraid, Jack." Mr. Summers said kindly, "Take your time, son." Zanini. Then there was silence, a long, tight silence. Mr. Summers lifted his paper and said, "All right, everyone." For a moment, no one moved. Then, everyone opened their papers. Women began shouting at once. "Who is it? Who got it? Is it the Dunbars? Is it the Watsons?" Then voices cried, "It's Hutchinson. Bill Hutchinson got it." People turned to look. Bill Hutchinson stood still, staring at the paper in his hand. Suddenly, Tessie Hutchinson screamed, "It wasn't fair. You didn't give him enough time." "Be a good sport, Tessie," someone said. "We all had the same chance," another voice answered. "Be quiet, Tessie," Bill said sharply. Mr. Summers spoke again. "We must hurry now." He checked his list. "You will draw for your family." "There's Don and Eva," Tessie shouted. "Make them draw too." "Married daughters draw with their husbands," Mr. Summers said calmly. "It still wasn't fair," Tessie cried. Bill sighed. "That's right. It's just me, Tessie, and the kids." Mr. Summers nodded. "How many children?" "3, Bill said. Bill Jr., Nancy, and little Dave, and Tessie, and me." "All right then," Mr. Summers said. "Harry, do you have their papers?" Mr. Graves nodded. He held up the slips. "Put them in the box," Mr. Summers said. "Put Bill's slip in too." "I think we should start again," Mrs. Hutchinson said quietly. "It wasn't fair. He didn't get enough time." Graves picked 5 slips and put them into the box. The other papers fell to the ground. The wind carried them away. "Listen to me," Mrs. Hutchinson said to the people nearby. "Ready, Bill?" Mr. Summers asked. Bill looked at his wife and children. Then he nodded. "Remember," Mr. Summers said, "take one paper and don't open it yet. Harry, help little Dave." Mr. Graves took Dave's hand. The boy came happily. "Take one paper, Davy," Mr. Summers said. Dave laughed and reached into the box. "Only one," Mr. Summers said. Mr. Graves held the paper for him. Dave looked up, confused. "Nancy next," Mr. Summers said. Nancy walked forward slowly. She took a paper gently. "Bill Jr.," Mr. Summers said. Billy rushed forward. He almost knocked the box over. Summers said. Tessie waited. She looked around angrily. Then she stepped forward and grabbed a paper. "Bill," Mr. Summers said. The crowd was silent. Someone whispered, "I hope it's not Nancy." Old Man Warner said loudly, "People aren't like they used to be." "All right," Mr. Summers said. "Open the papers. Harry, open Dave's." Mr. Graves opened Dave's slip. It was blank. A soft sigh moved through the crowd. Nancy and Bill Jr. opened theirs. Both were blank. They smiled and laughed with relief. "Tessie," Mr. Summers said. There was a pause. Then Bill opened his paper. It was blank. "It's Tessie," Mr. Summers said. Summers said softly, "Show us her paper, Bill." Bill Hutchinson walked to his wife. He pulled the paper from her hand. There was a black mark on it, a black spot, made the night before. Bill held it up. The crowd moved uneasily. "All right, everyone," Mr. Summers said. "Let's finish this quickly." The old rituals were forgotten. The old box was almost gone. But one thing remained. The stones. The pile the boys had made was ready. Stones lay everywhere on the ground. Mrs. Delacroix picked up a stone. It was so big she needed both hands. "Come on," she said. "Hurry up." Mr. Dunbar held small stones. Mrs. Dunbar said, breathless, "I can't run, you go ahead." Someone gave little Davy Hutchinson a few small pebbles. Tessie stood alone, in the middle of the square. She raised her hands. Her voice shook. "It isn't fair," she cried. A stone hit her head. "Come on," Old Man Warner shouted. "Come on, everyone." The villagers moved closer. "It isn't fair. It isn't right," Tessie screamed. And then, they were upon her. Sometimes, the most terrifying things are not done by monsters, but by ordinary people. No anger, no hatred, just tradition. Everyone followed the rules, everyone did their duty, and no one stopped to ask why. Tessie cried, but the village stayed silent. Because when a tradition is followed for too long, it stops feeling wrong. Ask yourself, if you were standing in that crowd, would you raise a stone? Or would you dare to say no? You may share your thoughts, if you wish.